And also, we can have like a banana, right? I have an apple and I have an orange here. These are God's gift. Can you imagine? Just look at these things, right? These are made in heaven. I mean, to have something made like this is so natural and so pure. So so the reason diets don't work is because we're not changing our design for living, our change of thinking. We're still in love with the big foods and with the corporations enslaved us with. We're still in prison. But in that prison, we feel, well, if I could just have this little morsel of food or this time of day, or if I could just do this, and then you can hold on, like on the seat, just grab onto your seat and every day I did it for a year. I was on a restrictive diet for a year. And they said, you can have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I was miserable every day. When people come into AA, especially, and they don't want to work these steps and have that spiritual awakening, which the promises, 9th and 10th step promises say, then we just say you might as well go out and drink. So feel lucky and grateful if you have this addiction to food, because through these steps in this program, the change of thinking is designed for living, having that complete revolutionary change. So anyway, and the doctor goes on to say, again on page 29, Roman numeral 29, the end of the first paragraph, it says here again, and unless this person can experience an entire psychic change, there is little hope of his recovery. So again, the diets don't work because our recovery isn't there. We weren't recovered. In this book on the first page, it talks about the first 100 people having been recovered, that recovered from that seamlessly hopeless state of mind and body. Believe me, it's true. I mean, it is really, really true in relation to the food. But if during the day you try to control it, and just like, try to control your interaction with people, try to control other people, try to control everything around you, and it doesn't work. We have resentments, anger, and fear. But when you let go and surrender and feel God, really feel our insides, like our stomach, and just get relaxed. And then intuitively we'll know what to do in our lives. We'll start to see that we don't want the poisons. We want natural things. Just like when we got off the drugs and the alcohol, we wanted a natural high. We started to. I look at it now. I used to think when I walked into a room and have that alcohol in my breath, or I'd be sipping it all the time, all day. And also the drugs and the food lead to depression. It just has that psychic change. Don't forget sugar. Sugar is like white powder, man. It's like heroin, cocaine, and crack. But it's, what? It's worse. Again, I told you, people I talk to and work with, they say this food thing, man, kick them. They can't figure it out. They can't, because they're trying to figure it out. Then step one said we had step one alone. If you do, this program is so simple. If you have a food addiction, if you go to step one, admitted you were powerless and our lives have become unmanageable. Never mind, okay, we'll go to step two if you want to go a little bit further. But step one should be enough in my life. But step two says believe a higher consciousness, which is in us all the time. Again, I use the example of a little child is so joyful and happy and then when they play. And then also you have a puppy dog is always happy. Because what happened is God gave us this gift of an intellect. But what did we do with it? We decided when we were young, a person looked at us the wrong way, said the wrong thing. We decided we were going to get our happiness and joy when the corporations and the commercials on TV or the internet or wherever you go, the fast food places told us how to behave and act. That's worse than being in a prison. That's solitary confinement. We want to be happy. We want to open up. When we walk out the door, we want to just be happy and joyous. When we entertain, when we have food, we just want to feel that serenity. And it's through these 12 steps. Step 12 says, having had that spiritual awakening. Now, I go to a lot of meetings, a lot of places, and a lot of people, from what I'm saying now, they don't want to accept the simple program. It's about that source within us, that higher consciousness. It was always there. We just buried. God made us to be happy, joyous, and free, and to be free of these addictions. But no, we took it upon ourselves. I always say, my name is Bob, my problem is Bob. I took it on myself to become addicted to food and alcohol and drugs. I took it on myself to try to make more money, become successful. That was my addictions. And it always made me miserable, because even when I achieved, again, let me give you an example with the weight. So somebody says, I want to get to my goal weight. And they get there. And now you know why that doesn't work? Because when they get to that goal weight, and if that's their only object in mind is let me get to that goal weight, then I'll be happy. Then like the man who climbed Mount Everest, they're happy. Say, oh, wow, wow, for about an hour or two. And then all of a sudden, it wears off. And then they say, well, the food seems better. So it talks about the transformation. Let me move on here because on page 29, Roman numeral, it says, one feels that something more than human power is needed to produce essential psychic change. And if we go to page, right to page 24. Well, actually, page 11. Let's just go through this here in Bill's story. And the third paragraph, about the second sentence down. His human will had failed, and my friend sat before me. Let me read before that, third paragraph. My friend sat before me and made the point-blank declaration that God had done for him what he could not do for himself. So what is a higher power? What is God? I had to understand, so long as it wasn't me. Because my thinking is, people told me, and 10 people could be in the same situation, all have different thoughts. But when we get centered and feel the vibration of love and patience, and we feel all this around us, in God's like food and the glory of it, and just everything in nature, then we get centered. And then anything, I'm not just talking about the food here, but problem you have with people. When I get centered and I'm out of the self, the answer usually comes to me, it really doesn't matter. So here's the true from the false. It really doesn't matter if I have a big plate of food. When they put the salt, oil, and sugar in it, it's about 3 times the calories in the synthetic stuff. And it's all poison, most of it. I have a list of things here, the stuff they put in. And one of them is antifreeze, propylethylene glycol, okay? So in propylethylene glycol is antifreeze. Used as a preservative. That's what's in your food. And then, we know that devastation, this country has more of all of the diseases put together in the whole world. Everybody's getting type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancers, of all kinds of stuff. So you don't have to, you just could do the research, go on the internet and see around the world and where they eat healthy, and in this country too, where they eat healthier people who do. It's a whole different thing. And another thing about eating healthy is you won't be able to eat enough food. When you eat healthy food and when you have that one ingredient, people find they can't eat enough. So you could actually have a lot, again, the salt, oil, and sugar is about 3 times the calories. So there you go. So then it goes on to say, all right, so let's go to page 24. Wait, before I do that, I wanted to read on page 31, okay? This explains what we do. Let's 31, then we'll go back to, in the second paragraph, here are some of the methods we tried. Drinking beer only, limiting the number of drinks, never drinking alone, never drinking in the morning, drinking only at home. So this is related to our other addictions in the food, definitely, right? Never having it in the house, never drinking during business hours, drinking only at parties, switching from scotch to brandy. So he goes on and on, swearing it off, right? Taking more physical exercise, reading inspirational books. That was a big one of mine. And self-help books, and I had shelves full of them, but I tried to figure it out.